Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the New York Women's Foundation Celebrating Women Breakfast. Let's get the celebration started with a performance by developing artists.
We march with the truth. Our children are dying because you're ignorant, you're blind. Will you join the fight? And we'll prove it to you.
Prove protest can turn pain into joy.
Prove it to you.
Ooh, ooh.
Hey, yeah. Ooh. Hey, system that is flawed. We keep fighting for our cause. Hey, yeah. We keep fighting for our cause. Hey, yeah. We keep fighting for our cause. And we will march on, and we will stay strong, and we'll keep telling our stories. Our art is our thought, dopeness going on, and we will not fall. Put out in the open, our message relay. This how we keep on going, how we look past this pain. And we will march on, and we will stay strong, and we'll keep telling our stories. Our art is our thought, dopeness going on, and we will not fall. Hey, yeah, we keep fighting for our cause.
Celebrating women and breakfast. We've been talking a lot about what it means to be an ally. See, I'm queer, so I need allies, but I'm also white, so I need to be an ally.
I'm a woman of color, so I need allies, but I'm also cisgendered, so I need to be an ally. I'm a pan-Latina, so I need allies. I'm also lucky enough to have a community that supports me, so I need to be an ally.
I'm a bisexual black person, so I need allies, but I'm also a man, so I need to be an ally.
One thing I've learned from being a woman is men can be truly disgusting. This is stuff that we've all been through. Raise your hand if it's happened to you.
Gotten told to smoke,
whistled at my ass,
said that I was exotic, got hit on in class,
and called a bitch,
and a seductive nymph. Me too.
Me too. Me too.
Me too.
And that's not all right.
But we can make things better as long as we try to grow together. It'll be okay, it'll be alright, cause we are allies.
There are lots of ways to be an ally. Well, here's some things not to do.
Allies.
Yeah, don't be an asshole.
Don't ask if you can touch my hair.
Allies.
And don't only march for issues that directly affect you.
The best way to be a good ally is to commit, to listen, to do the work, and proclaim yourself as an activist.
I wanna be an activist.
Like that.
Actively doing shit. Don't know why we act like this. Can't believe these conflicts still exist.
We must resist. Hey! I wanna be an activist, actively doing shit. Don't know why we act like this. Can't believe these conflicts still exist. We must resist. You've heard our stories, seen our pain, learned our truths. We've crossed the barrier. Now ignorance is not our youth. Your children strive and live and die with their pride. At the end of the line, will you rise up and prove our might? In numbers we will strive. We are the activists, the artists and you. We hold the truth, we march for those without a chance to live their youth. Are you an an ally or oppressor in disguise? Will you join the fight? Are you willing to die? To prove it to you,
We will not sit back and watch.
to prove it to you,
We will not be intimidated.
to prove it to you,
We will raise our fists higher, stomp louder.
to prove it to you. We will not relent because we are relentless.
Please welcome the New York Women's Foundation's co-chair of the Board of Directors, Kwanzaa Butler.
Good morning. Isn't developing artists amazing? My name is Kwanzaa Butler, and on behalf of myself and my co-chair, Janet Riccio, I'm pleased to welcome you to the 32nd Celebrating Women Breakfast. We are so grateful to have you with us bright and early. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the incredible leadership of our breakfast co-chairs, board members Helene Banks and Myrble Regan. Thank you, Helene, Myrble, and team. I'd also like to thank our interpreters this morning, Stephanie Frayne and Candace Brecker-Penn, being with us again this year. We are here to honor 6 amazing women this morning: Sarinya, Marta, Rhonda, Dream, Cyndi, and Abigail. Congratulations. We are all looking forward to hearing your inspiring words. The Celebrating Women Breakfast is also about honoring our fierce grantee partners. Many of them are seated on stage and in the audience. I'd like to ask them all to stand. Let's show them our appreciation. When you support the New York Women's Foundation, you are supporting amazing leaders like the ones standing before us. They are working to advance economic, gender, and racial justice every single day. Through their passion, dedication, and solutions, individuals, families, and communities are transformed. Now I want to acknowledge you, our beautiful audience. Thank you for supporting the Foundation's work. Your contributions, time, strengths, and hopes have a home at the Foundation. Because of your radical generosity, the Foundation can do what it does best: invest in dynamic leaders working toward a vibrant future for all women. At the first ever Celebrating Women Breakfast, 32 years ago, the Foundation announced its first grants, $50,000 to 4 organizations. Fast forward, and the Foundation has awarded $77 million to more than 400 grantee partners over its history. Our grant making places us at the top of public women's foundations in the United States and in the top 3 in the world. This is possible because we, all of us in this room and beyond, make it happen. When we support the Foundation, our gifts become more powerful because they are combined. When we give, we take collective action for a world where women prosper and lead, live free of violence and discrimination, and take back control of their health, sexual, and reproductive rights. Thank you for standing for the New York Women's Foundation. Now I'd like to introduce our first honoree, Sarinya Srisakul. Absolutely. A pioneer, Sarinya is the first Asian woman firefighter in the New York City Fire Department. Sarinya has been serving in the FDNY since 2005 and is the immediate past president of the United Women Firefighters. She served in that role for 6 years, and in that time oversaw the numbers of women firefighters grow from around 30 to 87. In large part due to her leadership, the FDNY is poised to finally break the 100 women mark. This is because of the United Women Firefighters Physical Training Program for women firefighter candidates, as well as their mentorship, organizing, and advocacy work. Sarinya has been involved with United Women Firefighters since the beginning of her career, just as the New York Women's Foundation has been supporting and working with United Women Firefighters since their beginnings. The child of immigrant parents, Sarinya is a lifelong activist and a trailblazer who continues to create social justice and gender equality. Sarinya has been a dedicated champion, mentor, and role model, showing us all what is possible. It is our great honor to present you with the Celebrating Women Award in recognition for your leadership and untiring efforts to open pathways of opportunities for women in the FDNY.
Thank you, everyone. When I started in the fire department in 2002, there were only 25 women firefighters out of a force of 10,500. It was amongst the lowest numbers of women we've ever had, notwithstanding before the first class of 41 women entered the fire department in 1982 from a lawsuit that my mentor, Brenda Berkman, started. Although I understood the history and sexism of the job from a theoretical standpoint, when I entered the fire department, I was still shocked by how badly I got treated and how blatant and casual this racism and sexism were. When I was in fire academy, I was forced to cut my hair. I was forced to change in the locker room with the men. They called me by a racist nickname. I had to hear sexist, racist, and homophobic jokes constantly. They built a new obstacle in training for me to make it harder for me and the women who came after me, and they named it after me. And in their efforts to make me quit, I was made to repeat academy again, which meant another few months of physical and mental torture. I had worked in a male-dominated field before the fire department, but this was so actively hostile to me and people like me that it was just on another level, and I was shocked. As time went on, my sense of self was so worn down that I learned to survive in this world by putting up with bad behavior in order to get along. Back then, I was the only woman in Manhattan south of 100th Street. The men would say off-color jokes, I would laugh. They would talk smack about other women, I would shrug. I even had a bully in my firehouse who threw my food out, let the air out of my bike tires, said outrageous things like Hitler was right, and I never filed a complaint in 3 years. I thought that the more I ingratiated myself to these men, the more I would be accepted. It went on like this until we started getting a couple of women downtown Manhattan. One in particular asked me for advice on how to deal with sexist behavior in her firehouse, and it made me feel like a fraud to give her any advice. It dawned on me right then that I'd be downright embarrassed that if another woman came to my firehouse, for them to see the kind of behavior that I put up with. And it was in that moment that I realized that this job and my place in this world was a lot bigger than me, and I had to do what it took to make the job a better place for other women. And don't worry, I filed my complaint soon after this realization. I became president of the United Women Firefighters in 2013. We were on the precipice of hiring a large number of women from an upcoming list, unprecedented because the Black Fire Department group, the Vulcan Society, had filed a racial justice lawsuit, and major changes were made to the hiring list. So the first Fire Academy class I was under my watch had 6 women in it. While there, their locker room was used as storage for Gatorade, bicycles, and personal items for male instructors. But most alarmingly, a sudden change in graduation requirements threatened to eliminate all 6 women. It was during this time that I truly learned my strength as a woman in this world. At this time, it was an all-out war between the women firefighters and the FDNY. We used employment law and EEO law to help us win policy changes, in some cases get women's jobs back. And as a result, the disgruntled men would leak personnel information out to places like the New York Post and spread blatant lies about these women into the Post and the right-wing blogosphere. Conservative women organized against us, and it really felt like the entire department despised us. We really couldn't catch a break. It was during this low period of time that we met with the New York Women's Foundation and the other allies that we work with. While duking it out in the FDNY political arena, we were also volunteering our time in New York City parks, training women candidates to pass a physically demanding FDNY exam in Fire Academy. Because we're a 100% membership-driven organization, we're successful, but we needed help, lots of it. My first year, I was mortified because we didn't have an office space, we didn't have a working budget, but the foundation assured me that they helped small organizations like us. And as we were gathered around my coffee table in my living room, my attitude changed and I became more comfortable when we talked about how passionate I was about changing the gender disparity in the fire department. The foundation has been our partner for the past 4 years, and we couldn't have accomplished what we have without them. They've been nothing short of understanding and helpful to us in navigating the nonprofit world. Today, we actually have 91 women serving in the FDNY as firefighters. It's an update for the foundation, which is a historic high, and we are on the verge of breaking 100 because yesterday, 15 women were inducted in Fire Academy. And 3 of them are Asian women, which is something I've waited 14 years for, which I'm so excited to see them all graduate. And I don't see this award as a symbol of me. I see this as a symbol of my relationship and partnership with the foundation. It's an organization that believed in me and nurtured me as a woman of color in this world, in a world where I've been told that I don't matter. So I really do appreciate to stand here in this room full of so many brilliant and amazing activists on such an early morning and to share this day with you. I'm so very humbled, and I really thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thanks.
Congratulations, Sarinya. Apologies to my mother, but she is a badass, right? Okay, our next honoree, Dr. Marta Moreno Vega. She is founder, scholar, producer, activist, author, educator, and Yoruba priestess. In 1976, she was inspired by a vision to create an international organization to promote and link communities of African descent. That organization is the Caribbean Cultural Center African Diaspora Institute, located in East Harlem. Marta has been a lifelong advocate for cultural equity, cultural studies, and education. As the second director of El Museo del Barrio and one of the founders of the Association of Hispanic Arts Network of Centers of Color and the Roundtable of Institutions of Color, she has been instrumental to assuring that the contributions of African and African descendants are integral to civil society in the Americas. Marta has conducted research in Yoruba belief systems, united scholars and leading traditional experts to expand the knowledge and importance of sacred African diaspora traditions. She is chief editor of Women Warriors of the Afro-Latina Diaspora and Voices from the Battlefront, Achieving Cultural Equity. Marta has also directed the documentary When the Spirits Dance Mambo, Growing Up Nuevo Rican in El Barrio, and has written a personal memoir by the same name. Marta speaks truth to power. She stands up for and affirms the powerful experiences of people of African descent, and in doing so, she advances justice. It is my honor to present you with the Celebrating Women Award in recognition of your life's work.
Buenos días. Good day. To the New York Women's Foundation, its board of directors, staff, funders, and supporters, and to Ana Oliveira, badass. Gracias, modo pues, obrigada, merci, thank you. Each one of us carries in our soul the souls of our communities. As an Afro-Boricua, I carry the histories of injustice, the history of racism, and the resilience of our people to confront embedded practices of discrimination, xenophobia, and exclusion, while at the same time fighting against the grain to continue to construct the promise of a just, equitable society that honors and values each and every one of us. Our work is the reflection of the resistance of our ancestors that refused to be devalued and rendered inhuman. We are all the reflection of women freedom fighters that struggle for our liberty and the democratic principles still deferred. They refuse, as we must, to be prisoners of ideologies that center and impose the culture and racial supremacy of one group over others. It is each of our responsibility to actively construct and put into action an inclusive framework that honors, values, and supports a just racial, gender, economic, social, and cultural framework for living that affirms us all. We are our present and future. We stand for our right to our humanity, our brilliance, our creativity, self-determination, and all the forms that we imagine and manifest. In this chapter of my work, the establishment of the Creators Justice Initiative, with locations in Puerto Rico and New York, reflects the need to establish a network of voices and institutions from varied disciplines. It is to focus on a narrative of action that connects and frames the intersectionality and imperative of culture, race, myth, art, and justice. It is the mission of the organization to establish a safe space for the creation of a multifaceted, intergenerational, racial, gender, and cross-cultural narrative that guides actions that unite us, to address the challenges that seek to disempower us as women and communities. Colonialism, neocolonialism, and other mass systems of injustice will not continue to hold us hostage. We are the carriers of our soul. We are the carriers of our souls, the souls of our ancestors, and the souls of our communities. We are the makers of our history and have the responsibility of actively engaging now to assure we honor and carry forward the integrity, morality, and ethics of our ancestors into the future. That like the spirits of the cultural warriors before us, who bravely challenged and broke the chains that bound us, they provide us the fortitude to continue insisting and building the society that reflects the promise of America. There are so many women that are essential to the work that we all do, to my life, that establish a continuous support system on whose shoulders you and I stand. It is impossible to name them all in such a short time, but I must name some who have been and are critical to me because it is important to understand that we don't achieve alone and we don't stand alone. It is the work of spirit women like Evelina Antonetti, United Bronx Parents, Antonia Pantoja Spira, Catherine Dunham, Laura Gago Moreno, my sister-in-law, my mother, Flora Cruz Macano, my godmother, Zenaida Rodriguez Odufora, and so many other women that are now spirit that continue to guide my path. It is women like Marie Brown, Melody Capote, Mita Cuadros Lash, Gloria Rodriguez, Monifa Akimwoli Bendelli, my granddaughter, Kia Vega Hutchins, my soul daughter, Jenna Hutchins, and badass Ana Oliveira, that provide the daily support for standing when I doubt myself and am weak. Thank you does not reflect the deep gratitude I feel at this moment for this recognition. I am honored to be recognized with my sister's Dream, Cyndi, Sarisa, and Rhonda. Modupwe, thank you, New York Women's Foundation, for leading the way. I stand on your shoulders.
Please welcome board member and 2017 Vision Award recipient Ann Delaney and board alumna Marjorie Cadigan.
Good morning. We are so excited to introduce Rhonda Joy McLean, our friend and sister. Rhonda joined the foundation board in 2000, and we were lucky to have her. She came with skills and experience from many years as an attorney in the public and private sector, including a successful career at Time Inc., where she quickly ascended the corporate ladder to Deputy General Counsel. But Rhonda did not climb the ladder alone. Along the way, like a sister, she held out her hand to many colleagues. After realizing how valuable mentorship could be, she founded the Time Warner's Women's Network, which is still in place and has grown exponentially. Time Warner's esteemed past CEO, Dick Parsons, has this to say to Rhonda. Congratulations to my dear friend Rhonda. Your dynamic leadership skills, along with your enthusiasm and boundless energy, serve as an inspiration to all. Thank you for using your talent, strength, and perseverance for the benefit of women and all of us. I want to share my personal story about the leader, mentor, and sister that Rhonda is to me. I first got to know Rhonda in the early 90s through an organization that we hold dear, the Association of Black Women Attorneys. She became my coach at a time when I was struggling with my career. I was a practicing litigator at the time, but after 5 years, I felt restless and unfulfilled. When I was just about to abandon my legal career, Rhonda helped me examine my skills, talents, and experiences and see that there was more to my career than litigation. With her guidance and encouragement, I transitioned to become a general counsel to 2 city agencies. Our connection has grown and deepened since then. Rhonda does more than mentor you. She becomes your touchstone, helping you to find the potential in yourself and empowering you to activate it. That is my friend. That is my dear sister, Rhonda.
Rhonda embraces all aspects of life and is so solid in who she is. Attorney, advocate, wife, church member, volunteer, stand-up comic. Yep, just watch her MC our fall neighborhood dinner. She's total inspiration. When Rhonda became co-chair of our board in 2007 with the marvelous Tony LaBelle, she understood that everyone's time on the board could and should be impactful. She made us all want to step up as change makers because she did. She led us gracefully and was also fun. She laughed a lot. She knows that meaningful work is a privilege and a joy. And Rhonda, being Rhonda, is always on the lookout for unrecognized potential, especially of young women, women of color, and working women. So she invited exactly those same women to join the foundation as philanthropists. She said, "Please join our circle. We need you." And so the Circle of Sisters was born, and the foundation has been forever changed. We are truly a home for every kind of donor. Rhonda, we love you. You're our sister. You read that part. On behalf of the board and staff of the New York Women's Foundation, we are honored to present you with the Vision Award for your lifelong work as a philanthropist and champion of women's leadership.
Good morning. Okay, I'm from North Carolina. I grew up in the Baptist tradition. Let's try this again. Good morning. Good morning. I think we can work together. Thank you so much to Ann and Marjorie. I am humbled and honored by your words, grateful for your friendship, inspiration, and support. Marjorie, when you invited me to my first breakfast like this in the early 90s, I had no idea that you were changing my life forever. Cecilia Gaston, I hope you're here, a shero in your own right. Thank you for interviewing me for a position on the board of the foundation. Thank you for seeing something in me that I did not see in myself quite yet. Ayon Choi, thank you for trusting me with your wisdom and for raising me up in the New York Women's Foundation, Women Empowering Women tradition. At my first breakfast, I was struck by the hundreds of Wonder Women, as you all are, and men, striding up the escalators. It blew my mind. I wondered what could bring so many of us to this place so early in the morning. You might be wondering that too. I was mesmerized by the power in the room. Do you feel it? Can you feel the energy in the room? We are all committed to making the lives of women and families in our city better. The sheer energy is overwhelming. I grew up in a very small town in North Carolina, and my parents, Georgiana and John, instilled in my brother Jack and me a sense of social responsibility at an early age. It was not called that, nor was it called philanthropy, a concept which was quite alien to us at the time. It wasn't called anything. It was just doing good and being good because you could and because you should. My mother is now 93. We've lost my dad. But my mom is still going strong, inspiring others to be good and do good. She is amazing. She is my touch star. She's on her way here later this week to witness her first grandchild's graduation from Columbia University. Yes, my nephew, Ian Wesley McLean, is gonna get a degree. And we're gonna be here. As children, we learned to treat others as family, whether we knew them or not. To treat others as friends, whether we spoke their language or not. To treat others as neighbors, whether they were from our communities or not. And yes, I grew up in a church, and my parents were ministers of music in that church. But this notion of being good and doing good was not tied to any particular religious doctrine. Rather, it was just doing the right thing. We were not rich, not even close. Yet, I saw my father send $25 every month to support public television and to other nonprofit organizations that helped people. He and my mom did this, of course, only after our bills were paid and after their church tithes were set aside. But even so, they belong to organizations, particularly in our communities, sororities and fraternities, that help students, many of them first generation, to complete their undergraduate degrees, often in the first in their families to do so. They mentored hundreds, if not thousands, of students and helped them with books and stipends for books and meals. This morning, I'm joined by my family, my beloved husband, Bill Craig, our children, Dr. Kalina Craig Henderson, my son, Asa Craig, my cousins, Kyle and Tommy. All of them are amazing. Thank you for loving me, supporting me, putting up with my late nights meetings, endless conference calls, and more. There's more. My sister Links are here. My Delta sorors are here. My former colleagues from Timink are here. My uplifting colleagues from Union Theological Seminary are here. My New York Women's Foundation Board alumni are here. Friends and mentors from my 35-year career as an attorney are here. I salute you all. Thank you. Especially at such a time as this, we need to remind ourselves of the power of one voice, lifted in concert with others, of one hand, joined in commitment with others, of one heart, joined in harmony with others, and of $1, joined with those of many others to make the world better. Never doubt, never ever doubt that your voice, your hand, your heart, or your dollar counts. Because trust me, I'm standing here to tell you that it does. You do not have to be a millionaire to be a philanthropist. Let me just say that one more time. You do not have to be a millionaire to be a philanthropist. I am a poster child for that concept. I've been a philanthropist all my life. I just didn't know it. You are philanthropists too. All you have to do is give of your gifts, your talents, and your resources to make the world ready. Are you ready? Yes. Oh, no, you're not ready. No. Are you ready? Yes. Together, our radical generosity is unbeatable. We will rise up, we will advance, we will activate change. Yes, we will. I have a surprise. If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody she is traveling wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a good one ought, if I can bring back beauty to a world upwrought, if I can spread love's message that the masters taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. God bless you.
Please give a warm welcome to Rocio Delgado from the Foundation's grantee partner, Violence Intervention Program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me here to share my story. How would you describe yourself in 3 words? There was a time in my life when my answer was defeated, disempowered, and overwhelmed. I spent most of my life feeling that way. I immigrated to the United States from Mexico when I was 14 years old. I grew up in a home where my mother, siblings, and I were abused by my father. Until recently, I was unable to speak about the sexual abuse I endured by my older brother. Looking back, I see how that set me on a path of continued abuse. I left home at 19 when I became pregnant. I thought marriage would keep me safe, but I was wrong. I lived with my husband for 17 years. We had 2 daughters together, and during that time, I endured physical, emotional, psychological, verbal, and financial abuse at his hands and at the hands of his family. In 2003, while I was still married, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I have been battling cancers ever since. I have had 5 surgeries, chemo, radiation, and physical therapy. It's a lot to carry, but for me, battling cancer is nothing compared to the pain of being abused by my husband. I left my husband in September 2016. I knew I had to get out. I knew I had to get out once he began saying he will kill me and take my girls. I chose my life and the lives of my daughters. But the years of abuse made me shut down. I was depressed. My daughter's therapist said to me, if you really want to help your daughter, you have to help yourself. So I went into therapy. It helped reduce my trauma symptoms, but something was still missing. My therapist thought joining a group will help. That is how I got connected to the Violence Intervention Program. Calling BIP was one of the best decisions ever made. BIP connected me with a counselor advocate. She talked to me like she understood where I was coming from. She connected me with BIP's Economic Justice and Survival Program, which provides financial literacy and economic empowerment to survivors of domestic and sexual abuse. After I left my abuser, I had no financial support. I was collecting cans off the streets because I thought that was all I was worth. my counselor pushed me to think about what I knew. I kept saying that I didn't have any skills, but she didn't give up on me. Finally, I told her I had learned macrame when I was young. I never thought of it as a way of earning money. Because of the foundation support, I was able to get seed money to start my own business selling crochet and macrame goods. Before I knew it, I had the opportunity to sell my work through a pop-up market coordinated by the BIP for women like me who are building a small business. I also have an online store, and I hope you'll take a look. I am enjoying building my business, and I hope to see it grow. I love having my daughters be part of it. Because of them, I'm still here, loving and fighting. I want to know that the support BAP gave me was so much more than helping me to build a business. They gave me what I needed to take the next steps in my healing. People who care about me and support me. Now my daughters and I have the freedom to dream and create new way of life. In March of this year, my cancer came back for the third time. It's now in stage 4. I'm still fighting it, and I will keep fighting. I'm not scared of cancer. Finding out the person I live with never loved me and respect me, never treat me fairly, that has a much greater impact on me. I love this person, but now I know there is no love in violence. As long as I am with my daughters and I can do better for them, that is all I can do for. That is all I can ask for. Meanwhile, I continue with my therapy and with BIP. It was there where I learned to believe in myself. So if you ask me today for 3 words to describe myself, I am proud, I am confident, and I am supported. Thank you, and please welcome the president and the CEO of the New York Women's Foundation, Ana Oliveira. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rocio. Good morning, everybody. How are you? Okay. So I want to do a couple of thank yous. The first one, of course, is to you, because you chose to be here this morning, because you chose to support each other, you chose to support our grantee partners, and you chose to support New York City to be the city that it can truly be. I also want to thank the folks that make this breakfast possible. You know, the incredible board and alumni of the New York Women's Foundation who set us in the right path and to whom we are accountable on a daily basis. This incredible staff of the New York Women's Foundation, the team that I work most closely with, our partners at CMI, our partners at Give Lively, our partners at the Marriott that are serving us this morning, cook the food for us, and that we most of the time don't see here. So please thank them with me. Of course, what we do is for and with the goal of supporting the work of others. That's what the foundation is about. Think of the foundation. The foundation is a public foundation. It is not owned by a family. It is not owned by a corporation. It is owned by New York City. It is owned by you. It is owned by our grantee partners. It is owned by women like Rocio. That's what the New York Women's Foundation is. At the foundation, we come together with our resources, with our hopes, with our dreams, with our energy, and we harness that for the purpose of justice and equality. That's what we're doing together. The women that are honored today, why do we choose honorees for you for the breakfast? Because we're living in such stark times, right? Difficult times, but times of incredible opportunity, incredible chances to see difference, to see that what we do actually really matters. There's not much fog out there. Things are very clear. So it really, right? Yes. So it really matters who we recognize. It really matters who sits here, our incredible grantee leaders. Every single one of them deserves a walking staff. Every single one of them. It matters because they inspire us. When you leave here today, you're going to leave not only with whatever you had for breakfast, but you're going to leave with your spirit, your heart, your mind fuller than when you came in. And that's our commitment. Because in times like this, it does take something like radical generosity. Radical generosity is the type of philanthropy that we do and we practice at the New York Women's Foundation. It's a philanthropy that knows that problems and solutions live in the same place, that people living the issues know the answers, that it is the team of all of us under their guidance and leadership that creates sustainable, viable, and creates today the world that we want to see tomorrow. There is no tomorrow without today. It's the type of philanthropy that knows that and therefore operates with urgency. It's the type of philanthropy that does not leave anyone behind, that calls out our sisters with disabilities, visible and invisible, that calls out our trans and cis communities, that calls out our youth of color, that calls out our elders, that calls out every single one of us to come as you are, to do what you can. But this year, I'm going to ask you to do more, just like the foundation is doing. From last breakfast to this breakfast, we increased our grant making because of you, because of the urgency of the moment. Not only we continue funding incredible partners throughout the city to deal with economic security and justice, to deal with violence and build safety, as you just heard Rocio, to ensure that their health, sexual, and life rights are present and are self-determining those communities. But we also learned that we need to seize historical moments where additional change is possible. So last year, we so proudly launched in partnership 50-50, decision-making, investment, and visibility with Tarana Burke, the Me Too Fund. That Me Too Fund, yes. The goal of that fund is not to reduce gender-based violence, is to eliminate gender-based violence. Radical generosity is not about bringing things to a level of quote-unquote tolerance of abuse, domination, or suffering. Radical generosity is about eliminating it, it's transforming it. So what does it do? It interrupts. Our grantee partners on a daily basis interrupt violence, poverty, and silence. And on a daily basis, they build in our communities the solutions that we need to see tomorrow. The foundation practices radical generosity because of you, because you have been radically generous with us. So when you leave here today, I'm going to ask you to think about what each of us can do more. And what does that mean? It means in actions. But I'm going to say this, it means in our voices. We need to take up our voices together further. We have opportunities every day, all the time. When we are interacting with people, when we're seeing things, what do we choose to speak about? What do we choose to uphold? Do we work in solidarity? Am I living in a way that I also do not leave anyone behind? So, when you go out there, do more, give more, volunteer, think about where you're spending your money. Think about others that need to be in this journey. Numbers do matter, right? Numbers do matter. Vote. Get others to vote. Run for office. Take your leadership. We are ready for this. We have been at this for 32 years on the shoulders of others who were in this for decades and decades before. We are ready to make and see the change that we want. So the foundation not only wants to continue the Me Too Fund, but it has also created the Justice Fund. There's an enormous opportunity, in spite of all the other difficulties on the national scene. There's an enormous opportunity to enhance justice right here locally and dismantle the mass incarceration in Rikers Island, bring people the resources that they need to survive, the resources that they need to succeed. Let's disinvest from re-traumatizing people already traumatized and impoverished, and let's invest in building their lives. And we certainly continue with all of our partners, many of whom are here today. The Girls and Young Women of Color Fund. New York City has the biggest life achievement gaps borne by cis and trans young women of color. The disinvestment is enormous. So we've come together for all of these funds with our philanthropic partners to achieve a goal together that alone we can't achieve. So I ask you to join us, and remember, numbers matter, and it is together that we do that. So on that note, I want to ask you to bring on Rhonda Joy McLean back on stage. Thank you.
No, don't go. Don't go. Nope, stay right here. So you need to stand up and salute this lady. No, she didn't know I was going to do this. This woman is a badass woman. Go. Thank you. Y'all got me so excited I forgot my stick. Don't worry, I'm not going to forget it this time. My husband wants it, so. All right, let's keep it clean. Now, first you honored me, now we're going to go to work. So I am here to ask you to make a contribution to the foundation. In case you didn't know it, this actually is a fundraiser. That's why we're here this morning. This event raises $2 million for the foundation's $8 million grant making each year. We must reach at least $2 million today to make our goal. However, we have an incredible opportunity. A Shiro, who wishes to remain anonymous, has offered to match every dollar we raise today, dollar for dollar, up to $300,000. So I don't want to leave a single dollar on the table. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to get to this goal together. Together is the key word. When you give to the foundation, your gift is more powerful. So you can add $1 matched by $1 is what? Hello, remember Baptists? $1 matched by $1 is what? $2 matched by $2 is what? $1,000 matched by $1,000 is what? $10,000 matched by $10,000 is what? So we're going to get to $300,000 today. So here's how you do it. There's the old school way, which is called a CHECK. I wrote one out in case you hadn't seen one before. Okay, and there are boxes on the tables. I wrote it in the name of my mother, Georgiana. I think it's a wonderful way to honor the important women in your life, girls, men, people who have inspired you. The quick and dirty way, which now you can see we're using technology, and we have two fabulous women who are managing this. So you can give today via text message. Here are the instructions. Text CWB19 for 19 to 44321. If you look on the back of your menu, I'm simply reading the card. Follow the link and I can read. Follow the link and prompts. You may get prompted to join Marriott Wi-Fi. Just press cancel and move on. Then you feel awesome. So let's walk through this together. We're going to get the match, follow the link, write a check, send it by carrier pigeon, send a wagon, rob a bank. I don't really care how you get the money, because it's very important to me that we make the goal. There are about 2,000 of us in the room today. If we each gave $250, we'd reach our goal quickly, but we can't all do that. Some of us can do $25. Some of us can do $50. Some of us can do $250. Some of us can do way more, like way more. So for those of you who can do the way more, please do that. I'm asking you to think about what you can do and then challenge yourself. Be bodacious. One of the things that I've learned from these women, being around them now for almost 30 years, is that you set big, bold, bodacious goals, and then we make them. I remember when, a few years ago when money was tight, people weren't giving. Most foundations said, we're so sorry, we can't give what we gave. I said, let's double our fundraising. We were like, what? Are you crazy? Not only did we double it, we exceeded our goals. So now, just in case you were wondering what we're doing now, we are writing checks. Is everyone right? We are writing? Know how to write? Okay, you are texting CWB, look at how we're doing nicely, CWB19 to 44321. How we doing? Okay, oh my God, I love it. Follow the link. Don't join Marriott Wi-Fi unless you feel you should. And then feel awesome. Okay, ladies, we're gonna do this, and men, we're gonna do this today. So here's some banter. I'm supposed to banter with you. You just heard Roquio's story. Can we just give another round of applause? It took courage. Violence Intervention Program is just one of the 175 organizations we fund across the 5 boroughs of our great city. The wonderful women behind me represent a full wave of cycle. We do about 60 grantees at a time, and these are our current grantees. Please give them another round of applause. They are doing the work. Okay, all right. Writing checks. Do I hear checks? Okay, oh, you can't stop. Oh, I'm getting excited. Let's see it go up. All right, now, you heard the connection between Roquio's story of domestic violence and economic security. We know that advancing economic justice is critical. 2/3 of our funding is in this area because right now, 1 of every 4 women and girl in New York City is living in poverty. I know you're not. We're grateful and blessed to be where we are, to have work, to have family who can support us, to feel safe when we go home at night. Not everybody has that. That's why we're here today. The gift you give today will be matched 100%, and it will empower organizations to provide education, job training, paths to small business ownership, and also we work in the legislative arena to fight for fair policies and laws that help all women. Okay, how we doing? Let's keep it coming, folks. We got a little more work to do. Violence against women is on the rise. I'm sorry to have to say this, but if you get any news at all, I don't know if you're like my husband, who's in love with Rachel Maddow and watches her every night for 5 hours, but however you get your news, I'm just here to tell you that the violence against Muslim and Jewish communities, immigrants, LGBTQ people, and communities of colors is on the rise. This is a travesty. When you give to the foundation, you are funding programs that protect our communities and keep people safe. Keep it coming. I'm watching. I'm working, but I'm watching. When you give, you enable the foundation to respond to what is happening in our world today. Your help will protect our democracy, which I don't know about you. I integrated my high school when I was 13 in 1965 in North Carolina. I thought we were over that. Apparently, we're not. There's more work to be done. So organizations like Vote, Run, Lead, and Higher Heights are doing great things in our world today. We want to move the needle. In order to do that, we need cash. I don't know about you. We need cash. Did you know that the fastest growing population behind bars is women of color? When any family member does time, the whole family does that same time. Imagine what that means for a woman with children stuck at Rikers because she can't make bail. When she's there, she could lose her job, her home, and her kids. Usually for a misdemeanor, it may be something that she didn't do at all or didn't understand the ramifications of. The foundation is working and partnering with others to prevent incarceration. Let me say that again. The foundation is working to prevent incarceration and support women to remain successful parents. We also move philanthropy. We invest in issues, collaborative funds to get other foundations. Okay, don't stop. Ooh, I like that. Okay, let's keep it coming. All right. You want me to sing again? Because I have another song ready. Okay. The foundation partnered with Tarana Burke, who I know is here. Tarana Burke, you're going to hear from her later. The foundation partnered with her to create the fund for the Me Too movement and allies. We created the Justice Fund, and the New York City Fund for Girls and Young Women is still going strong, building our future by investing in girls, don't stop, women, and gender fluid youth of color. These are just a few of the amazing things that are made possible by your support. It's not about hope. It's not about thoughts and prayers. It's about putting serious feet in the trenches and dollars on the table. Are we clear? Do we know what our mission is? Are you going to help me raise this $300,000 this morning? We're doing very well. My time is up. Write more checks. Text CWB19 to 44321. Follow the link and prompts. I'm out of here.
Please welcome filmmaker, activist, and New York Women's Chair Emerita Abigail Disney and Executive Director and CEO of True Color United, Gregory Lewis.
Good morning, everybody. I'm sorry, I like that thermometer thing, and it's still working, so, don't put your phones down. And I want you to know, I noticed a lot of women back here picked up their phones, which I thought was pretty amazing. Okay, so my job is to tell you about somebody super awesome, to lax back into my language that I used to use when I talked about her. I feel tempted to introduce Cyndi Lauper by talking about how she wants to have fun, but I thought how many times people must have done that by now, and it's probably taken all the fun out of her song, so I decided to go a different route. When Cyndi Lauper just sort of burst out all of a sudden in the 1980s, she looked like nobody else, she sounded like nobody else, she said things nobody else was saying, and she was singing spectacularly well. Her voice is an instrument to be in awe of. There were a couple of years there where she was my fashion guru. I spent a lot of time at Alice Underground because word had it that she shopped there. And I got a couple really good blazers with huge shoulder pads, but never saw Cyndi Lauper. I saw Maya Angelou at Alice Underground. Don't ask me what she was doing there. I have no idea. So Cyndi Lauper's first big breakout song, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, dropped in 1983. Madonna's first song dropped in 1984. So Cyndi was there first. But for some reason, the pundits and the people who reviewed things always lumped them together in magazine articles and so forth. So I'm going to tell you all the reasons why Cyndi Lauper is not Madonna. I could probably go on about this for days. To put it succinctly, and with all due respect for Madonna, although that's what people always say when they're about to disrespect someone, but there was always a strain of generosity and of love and of realness at the heart of everything Cyndi Lauper ever did. If you go back to True Colors, if you go back to Time After Time, if you read those lyrics, you will hear from a person who wants to be there for you, who wants you to be there for her. It is generous, it is gracious, and it is loving. She looked and sounded frivolous, it is true, but I want you to think of that as like the wrapping paper on your birthday present. It's just sort of a delivery system to get you to open up and pay attention to what's underneath, which is really fun and really beautiful. Cyndi Lauper is on the stage for a lot of very good reasons today. She left an abusive family at 17. I think I was still learning to tie my shoes when I was 17. She worked for years. She overcame an early bout of vocal cord damage even before you ever heard of her. And she attained a level of fame and acceptance that most people only dream about. And then, when most people would rest, she did more. Her first album was 1983. Her first Tony was in 2012 for Kinky Boots. And then she published in the same year a New York Times best-selling memoir. So there's only one flaw in Cyndi Lauper that I can see. She's won Grammys, she's won Tonys, she won Emmys. I'm sure you know where I'm going here. So come talk to us at Level Forward. We would love to talk about the Oscar that you need to fill the shelf. Cyndi Lauper has been a ferocious activist for LGBTQ people all of her life in every freaking way she could find a way to be, long before Will and Grace ever moved in together. And her generosity has led her to lead programs and efforts for many, many, many causes nationally and locally. We are so lucky to have her here today. I am so genuinely thrilled and proud to introduce Cyndi Lauper and give her the Vision Award today.
Everything you just said rings so true. And what I would love to just add a little bit to is that, for over the last 3 decades, Cyndi basically has been teaching the world a master class in authenticity. And for over the past decade, I've had the great fortune to work side by side with her and get a front row seat as we've built True Colors United together with another extraordinary woman, Lisa Barbarese, her longtime manager. At the very heart of who Cyndi is her fundamental belief that society must include everyone equally. It is at her very essence, her very core. And when she sees injustice, whether it be directed towards women, people of color, the LGBTQ community, people living with HIV or AIDS, or the many other marginalized groups around the globe, Cyndi is fearless in her desire to speak up and act up, to take action on behalf of whichever underdog group she's fighting for. And she tends to get a bit more engaged when the opposition tends to put those barriers in front of her. She loves a challenge, and she will push through that challenge as hard as she possibly can. Whether it's testifying in the US Senate, whether it's marching on the street, whether it's co-founding an organization that's working to finally bring an end to youth homelessness in this country, Cyndi has never and will never stop being an advocate for those who society is yet to fully embrace. It simply would go against the very essence of who she is. It would go against the very authenticity she has modeled for all of us time after time. Had to get the pun in there. It has been an honor to witness her activism firsthand. and also to learn from her directly how to be a better advocate myself. So I'm thrilled to join with Abby to present Cyndi the Vision Award this year.
Oh my God, okay. Wow. And this'll go perfect. I have a room just like this. Next to the disco ball that's hanging. Thank you, Abby. That was some introduction, I don't know. And thank you, Gregory. Gregory runs our True Colors United. Looking around this room today, I just want to say I hope all the mothers here had a happy Mother's Day, yes? All right, with that kind of clapping, it was okay. Being a mother myself, sometimes I find the pressure too much on Mother's Day. There's so many powerful women here. Oh my goodness. It was worth getting up at 3 a.m. so I could gussy up for you. But anyway, I just want to applaud you. Give yourselves some applause because you guys are pretty awesome. I want to thank the New York Women's Foundation for honoring me with this visionary award. And I guess my friend Marius, who introduced me to you guys. You're somewhere. Thank you. Oh, there you are. Thank you. Thank you. He runs the salon I went to actually look like this. I'll try and make it brief, but I don't know. As a young girl growing up in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and then Ozone Park, Queens, I was always fascinated by the comings and goings of the women around me, and women in general. Their makeup, their hair, what they did. I was always curious what they wore. I lived in a house connected to another house where my aunt raised her family, my cousins. Yeah, I know, it might get a little long, but I'll try and make it short. She looked at her watch. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay. I did write this. I could, just try and summarize. Anyway, and upstairs lived my grandparents, very Italian. I had a very colorful beginning, but I also got to see so many instances where fairness and equality for women were non-existent. And although at 5 years old, there were no words yet for equality and civil rights, that would happen later. I got to see the struggles and hardships on the faces of the women I looked up to. I heard my grandmother's stories about coming to this country and starting her new life here, although she said she might have wanted to stay in Italy. But as she would always say, in those days, you did what you were told. And I got to hear firsthand how my aunt, how her dreams were dashed because she wanted to become a model, but only whores were models. Yeah, that's how it was back then. And I even heard a story about my own mom who got a scholarship to a special music school in Manhattan for singing, but couldn't go because, again, only whores went to school in Manhattan. Yeah. So I watched them live without that glimmer in their eyes and the excitement of what they could accomplish besides cooking and cleaning and a life of toil and struggling, living under their husband's name, not being able to do things on their own. But thank goodness for Bella Abza, who got us to be able to get that darn American Express card with our own name on it. Anyway, I also spoke to my cousin Josephine. She was older than me, and she went to college. You see, education for women was also not promoted. Well, not in my family. And Joe actually got to go to college, and I said, oh my gosh, what did you want to be? And she looked at me and she said, I went to get married. And I thought, oh my gosh, we had no identity of our own. And I remember as a kid seeing women struggle constantly. And of course, when my turn came to go to school in Manhattan, my mother drove me there and helped me take that test so that I could go to a school in Manhattan. And if you ever wondered why I fought and still fight for how I am portrayed as a woman and how other women are portrayed in any video or what I do, it is because I stand on the shoulders of these women. And there I was able to see more clearly what was fair and what was not. Now, at an early age, my sister Ellen wanted to be Peter Pan. I mean, come on, who doesn't, right? She wanted to play drums. She didn't have drums, but boy, she could play the shit out of those garbage pails. Only girls, they were supposed to dress and act like what was acceptable for girls at the time. Ellen wanted to dress like a boy, and trying to make her conform to the norms, to me, this mentality sounded like the same old story. Because we knew she was different, but there wasn't any space for people who were different. So my sister finally came out in her 20s, and I watched her struggle through trying to live with integrity as who she was. I watched friends do the same thing. But that was the 70s. The civil rights movement came and went with some changes in the 60s, but not enough. The women's movement came and made some changes, but not enough. And then it occurred to me that where were the civil rights for gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people who are forced to live on the fringes of society, with the health epidemic ignored by the government? Oh wait, that was the 80s. In the 90s, it was clearer as I started to sing in late night clubs, and I had these adoring shirtless boy fans screaming, "I love you." And I had a problem leaving and ignoring what was happening in that community. And in the arts, it became intolerable when people talked about hate, when people thought it was okay to for gay bashing. And that was intolerable, and I couldn't shut up anymore. And civil rights were being taken away and stripped for people of the LGBT community. Now, I was told that this, trying to work for the LGBT community was not a popular thing. But where I come from, the only causes are the unpopular causes. Anyway, that's how my journey started. I really saw my work as kind of a social movement to lift up the disenfranchised. When I recorded True Colors, I sang it for my friend who had passed away with AIDS, and I sang it to the angels and, to heal people and myself. But I had no idea until years later how it would impact the community I am friends and family of, the LGBT community. I told you it was long, I'm so sorry. But I want to tell you this so you understand. I always thought you could help through music. Music is a great medium. It could change the mood of a room. That's the amazing thing. And I always thought that rock and roll could save the world. I don't know. I still think that. And it wasn't until I met Gregory Lewis, Kathy Nelson, and Joe Salamise, and Judy Shepard that I realized together we could change some injustices, that we could work to inspire and educate people to change the laws that unfairly bind them. True Colors United works to bring people together and help to educate, motivate, and create change, community by community. Because I think that it's a community issue. What's our issue? I remember sitting on a bus with Lisa Barbarese, my friend and manager, and Gregory, and saying, what can we really do? What can we do that'll really work? Who the heck needs to have a charity? Let's do something that we could actually accomplish. And so we started to talk about LGBTQ youth homelessness. And that was something we could really fix. And you can, because these youth are experiencing homelessness only because of who they are. Because they're either gay or transgender, basically. And if that's the case, and they take up 40% of all the youth that are on the street, and we could fix that, then that's awesome, because they're the most vulnerable. If we could fix that, we could fix the others. And if you're tired of seeing youth on the street homeless, there's something you can do about it. And here's the thing. These young people are only on the street because they were thrown out for coming out to their parents, okay? And there are some theologies that are, which as a parent, I know it's hard. It's really hard to be a parent. When I first took my kid home, came with that pamphlet, if it cries. It's the diaper, he's hungry, maybe he's got gas, And then after that, you're stuck reading books and trying to figure it out. But when parents turn their children away because they're different, then you got to go in and work as a community, as a family, give support to the parents, give support to the kids before this happens. And that's where True Colors United comes in, because we bring communities together. We work with all the outreach programs. That's what we do. Anyway, look us up. Look us up. because our goal is to eliminate youth homelessness. And I think we're going to do it while I'm still alive. Because if the kids are our future, we better step up. Anyway, to make a long story short, oops, sorry. I feel very lucky and honored to be on this platform and addressing social issues of acceptance, equality, and women's empowerment. I burnt my training bra at the first demonstration at the Alice in Wonderland statue. Were any of you there? What did you burn? Like some of my girlfriends, they burnt the rollers. You know those rollers you used to have to... Anyway, thank you very much. I love this. I love you guys. What an honor to be included in this. Okay. A lot of people left their stuff. I don't know. I'm going to take mine. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Please welcome 2015 Vision Award recipient, Catherine Gunn.
Good morning. I just have to say, as a queer kid in the 80s, and my hair actually looked a lot more like that short, blonde crew cut for 20 years. So it's a huge honor to share this stage with Cyndi Lauper, who someone told me that music makes the invisible visible. And for that, we can be grateful for that art form. The challenge here for me, introducing Abigail Disney, is that she does this kind of introduction thing so brilliantly, as you just saw. Part of her magic is, in fact, that she makes a practice of honoring other women. Whether she's standing on a stage sharing her admiration of them, in a meeting of movers or shakers, or sitting across from you at dinner, she showers praise on young and old who are gathering their own heat and cooking it up into communal power. And it's not just praise she's good at sharing. Her films, her organizations, her philanthropy, her radical and very powerful media interventions, she's giving of herself and her creative, quick, and consequential brain. She makes you want to hold on tight, get ready for this ride. She shares the good fight, and she is on your team. Her teams are many and varied. Over a decade ago, she co-founded Fork Films so they could make and support media that disarms. That was their perfect word. They want to disarm audiences in order to advance a culture of understanding and a more peaceful and just society. Not an insignificant goal. They made multiple award-winning films like Pray the Devil Back to Hell, Armor of Light, and Tides of Spring, and if you haven't seen them, you should go find all three of those and watch them, and Women, War, and Peace, their series. With her organization, Peace is Loud, she spotlights women leaders on the front line of peace building worldwide. She also co-founded the Daphne Foundation, which invests in an equitable, fair, and peaceful New York City. If that doesn't sound familiar, shout out to the New York Women's Foundation, where Abby also happens to be the chair emerita. But get this, she serves as president of all of those organizations, serves being the operative word. She shakes things up and stays committed and accountable over the long term. She is something to behold. Her most recent endeavor, Level Forward, is a multidisciplinary enterprise that goes beyond film into theater, television, talk shows, podcasts. I actually couldn't keep track when she was telling me when they created it. They're going into media that has yet to be invented. She is unstoppable, and for that we can all be grateful. With this Century Award, we celebrate Abby for being a firebrand whose social activism and leadership creates historical shifts in what is possible for women and their ability to embrace their core capacities. We celebrate Abby for using her influence in the world to break down all kinds of barriers faced by a multiplicity of women. She boldly and courageously speaks out and speaks up to advance equality and peace. We're also lucky to have you on our team, and I'm lucky to call you my friend and my mentor, and the possibilities are endless. You once asked me to remind you of something important. Don't leave anything on the table when you're finished with your life. don't leave this earth without having examined every single seashell. I don't know why there's so much beauty in the room. Having taken every risk, don't hold yourself back for something so small and ridiculous as timidity. So far, so good, Abby. I could speak about you all day long, but it's still early, although not as early as it was a couple hours ago. So I've written a haiku because haiku evoke essence through a concise verbal imagery. For all the haiku fans out there, and for you, Abby, here's my little haiku. Steep break of the day, peace-loving Abby jumps in, both feet for justice. Please help me celebrate Abby Disney with the century.
I love this stick. I've been handing these sticks out for a long time. I wanted one for myself. Thank you, Kat. Thank you so much. I sort of got ambushed with this last week. This was added at the last second, so I think if we're going to run long, it's going to be my fault. And you know what? Sit down, because, I'm not going anywhere. Sorry, guys. But it's important. A lot's been happening for me lately. It's been really weird. Tonight I take the train to Washington, so at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning I can testify before Congress about pay inequality and excessive CEO compensation. Now, this is not the life my mother had planned for me. She meant well, and she wanted me to be happy, and that meant that she thought I should really just be a proper lady. But, you really need the right raw material to make a proper lady, and I was not that. So she became the proper lady police. She scolded me because I played football with my brothers. I wanted a G.I. Joe for Christmas, and Santa somehow saw fit to bring me an ironing board. That is a true story. And especially for seeking any kind of attention, I was scolded. Even my footsteps were too loud for my mother, so I learned to walk around on my toes so she wouldn't call me a Clydesdale, which was funny a little, but mainly painful. So all of this, of course, taught me to be very ashamed of any attention I got, whether or not I was seeking it out. And I know you're thinking that I'm lying to you, because everybody thinks I'm so confident. So that's your lesson for the day, which is that look next to you, to your left and your right. Those people are terrified right now. Everybody's terrified. And the corollary to that, by the way, is anybody who's not terrified is a psycho. So I figured out just a few days into college that a certain amount of attention was coming my way, whether or not I sought it out, and that sent me underground for years. And it was in May of 1992 that, kind of like a sleepy meerkat, I showed up at the New York Women's Foundation breakfast, and that was the day I officially came up from underground. It's pretty amazing because every single thing you heard said today that moved you about what you can do together and what women are capable of, and about communities and self-determination and making people visible who are disabled, who are women of color, who are LGBTQ, all that stuff was getting said in 1992, and believe me, no one else was saying that in 1992. The DNA of this foundation is precisely the same DNA today as it was back then. And yes, it changed my life. I met an unending series of courageous and generous and basically hilarious ladies who offered me love and friendship and support, all without expecting anything in return. And there was very, very, very much to learn. I'm still learning every day, in fact. So with little baby steps, I allowed some attention to come to me. I went from being an always anonymous donor to using my name for things. And as that attention came, I started to see that no matter how uncomfortable it made me feel, it could always be put to good use. So I began to use it. I always think of it as like, in Sorcerer's Apprentice, when Mickey gets the broom and everything goes crazy. That's what my name is like. It can go completely bananas, but if you work it right, it actually works very well. So this is all a way of saying that I literally have this gremlin that lives in my heart, and he heckles me all the time. Yes, it's a boy, and who causes me to feel all sorts of conflicting feelings at moments like this. But I am so proud to stand in this group of other honorees. I am proud to stand in front of all of you, and I'm more proud than I can say to stand in front of this group right here. Every single face behind me represents determination and hard work and integrity and faith and courage and an incredible program that has a story that you would really want to hear. So every single one of you, I thank you so much. So I assure you, I have not been plotting every year by year to get back up onto this podium. It's Ana Oliveira's fault. It's all her fault. And if you have a problem with me being here all the time, you need to take it up with her. I know what I'm doing is unequivocally good tomorrow. So the interesting thing is I go there for the first time in my life, unashamed. It's good to be 59, and it's good to be certain you're doing the right thing. So yesterday, I got a text from my friend Leah, who asked me how things were going, and I said they were terrible and wonderful. And then I realized I'd invented a word that described my life perfectly, terrunderful. Patent pending. You can use it, but you have to credit me. Terrunderful. So put in its simplest terms, terrifying just means scary, right? But it's such a bigger, better word than that. It means so much more because it describes a very specific kind of fear. You'd have to go to a romantic poet like William Blake or a Gothic novelist like Mary Shelley to really feel what terrible means. But Yeats used it best when he described modernity as it was coming forth in all its frightening glory as a terrible beauty slouching toward Bethlehem to be born. Terror is a very specific kind of fear you might feel when you look over the edge of the Grand Canyon, when you see a tornado. It is fear and awe bound into one word. It's the fear that a person might feel, say, when a Twitter thread you post on a Sunday goes viral and the Washington Post calls you that night and says, write an op-ed, and you realize that you're going to probably shred a whole lot of relationships and make a bunch of people really angry. But so that's just an example for nowhere in particular. That's terror. And of course, wonderful doesn't just mean good. I mean, if you use the language Donald Trump, the way he uses it, yeah, it probably just means good, and you use it over and over and over again. But it describes a very specific kind of good, which is the good that causes wonder in you, which is another way of saying amazement or awe. That means that it's not just the taste of chocolate. It's the taste of chocolate on a profiterole, on a stack of profiteroles, like coated in sugar and like whipped cream, and yes, I've been on a diet, I'm sorry. So here's a better illustration from the 11th chapter of Leaves of Grass. I would want to read you the entire thing if I could, but we are running late, so I'm going to read you a couple stanzas. And that my soul embraces you this hour, and we affect each other without ever seeing each other, and never perhaps to see each other, is every bit as wonderful. And that I can think such thoughts as these is just as wonderful, and that I can remind you, and you think them, and know them to be true, is just as wonderful. Beautiful, right? It kind of makes my day to read that out loud. Terrunderful is not for everyone. I don't recommend it. It comes with heart palpitations and short-term memory loss and an unrelenting anxiety about how your curly hair makes you look unprofessional, and an inbox that will clearly never be restored to sanity. But no matter how much fear and anxiety still shoots through everything in my life, I am sustained by awe. I'm in awe of how much can generally change when people work together, especially when women like you come together and support each other. I'm in awe of how many decent, good people surround me every single day, no matter how hard the media is trying to persuade me otherwise. And I'm in awe of how blessed I've been, mostly by the last things most people would associate with me being blessed by. Amazing and healthy and kind children, deep and abiding friendships, and the good luck to land in this city with these people, just waiting to tell me everything I needed to know in life. Moments like these are also, if you can cut through the trunderful long enough to see the bigger picture, an opportunity to take stock of everything and call together all your resources. Here are some of my resources. One of them is named Ana Oliveira. Ana is a queen. She's that queen with the dragon. I don't watch Game of Thrones, but I think she has a dragon. She came to this foundation in a moment of significant danger. Nobody knows that, really, but if it hadn't been for her, I don't know if we'd be here this morning. Anne Delaney is another one, a steadfast friend, a queen probably without a dragon. Lema Bowie, who's a maniac for sure, but my kind of maniac. I don't think she has a dragon, I think she is a dragon. Angie Wang. Angie will show up all quiet and unassuming, and let me tell you, under that placid surface, there's a she-bear who's balancing all the same shit you're balancing and scared to death about, just like the rest of us, except she never snaps at you, she never says a mean thing, and she holds me up and helps me not doubt myself, even when the gaslighting is so bad I think I'm on a set for a Dr. Jekyll movie. Adrienne Becker is another one who I immediately knew was born to be my business partner, and so clearly brilliant and ready to make bold moves and take bold chances. Another one is named Ginny Rediker, who so graciously helped me see the power of film in the hands of someone with more talent in her pinky finger than most male filmmakers that are very famous. Kathy Hughes is another one who babysat and nursed me through directing my first film. And she helped me believe that I wasn't incompetent and crazy, even as she covered over all my incompetence and craziness. Dominique Bouchard and Melanie Olin, who somehow maintain some cheery, kind of almost freakishly cheery composure, no matter what gets thrown their way. And Deborah Howes and Leah Doyle, who are my closest and oldest and dearest friends from the 8th and the 4th grade, 4th and the 8th grade, respectively. And a million times, they've known me since before I was this lady. And they've helped me through the thicket of privilege and visibility I navigate, which is weird, all time, every day, and who tell me the truth when I am being a narcissist, which, yeah, happens from time to time, and who love me no matter what, which is the biggest and most important superpower. There are many others, of course, many others. Cat Gunn would be chief among them. But once I decided to read 2 stanzas of Walt Whitman, I realized I'd have to dial this list back. But I work on a place I call Planet Perfect, with Fork Films and Pieces Loud and Daphne Foundation and the Lema Bowie Peace Foundation and everybody who's here. Thank you so much for all that you do to keep me going forward. I literally cannot thank you enough for this honor. I didn't expect it. It just came out of nowhere. And I'm so humbled, really, truly, to be accepting it. So let's go rethink capitalism, shall we? And turn the world right side up. Thanks.
Please welcome our next 2 award presenters, Tarana Burke, 2018 Celebrating Women Award recipient, and Foundation Board member Io Roach.
Good morning. Ooh, y'all are still awake. I guess after all this time, you might as well stay up. How we doing with the money? Can somebody show us the screen? Okay. So we need, I don't know math. Somebody carry the 1. We need a lot more. Dig in your pockets. We need a lot more before we want to hit our goal before we leave breakfast today. I would stand here and do a trick, but I don't know any. I would sing a song. Where's our sister at? You want to sing with me? Swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to dig in your pockets. Give us money. Okay. So now we know the number. I'm gonna check in one more time before I leave, and I want that number to jump exponentially. I know words, I may not know math. So I'm here to introduce Dream Hampton. I've actually known of Dream for probably 20, we were doing fake math backstage. I keep wanting to say 20 years for everything. When you get to a certain age, you just say 20 years. But my daughter's gonna be 22, and so that gauge is a little off, so maybe 25 years. I first remember reading her name in Vibe magazine when she did a review of Mary J. Blige's second album. And it's very specific to me because I remember reading this review and thinking, this is why we need women writers. Because the way she talked about the album resonated so much with the way I knew I felt and so many of us felt. And you just didn't see men connect with it like that. And I became a fan after that and followed her work and followed her writing. And I'm so glad that the recent years have brought us into relationship with one another because she's such a spectacular human being. I've been listening all morning to people talk about giving and generosity. And when I think about Dream, I think about radical generosity, not just in the sense of financial, but radical generosity as a person. Because she's had a stellar career that could have taken her in any direction and done anything, but she has been committed to women and in very specific ways, Black women and marginalized women for her entire career in very generous ways. When we did the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, she conducted my interview. Yeah. She conducted my interview, and first I was so grateful that she was the one conducting the interview. But in the middle of the interview, I had a really hard moment. And I remember we had this just moment of connection, and it was such grace and empathy and space that she gave me and allowed me in that moment. And I thought after that, I'm so glad that these other women have a person like her, that we have a person like her who would be at the helm of this project, because I know it's not just about getting to the end of the project or getting high ratings. It's about telling this story for us. And Dream has stood up for women, for Black women, for survivors, and for so many other people for so long. And so I'm so glad to stand up today for her. Congratulations, Dream.
Thank you, Tarana. I first met Dream Hampton while attending Spelman College more than 25 years ago, and she was bold, fearless, and courageous then. In the years since, she has devoted her life and career to social justice and truth-telling. As filmmaker, author, journalist, cultural critic, sister, ally, she has shined her light on Black and brown communities and the main events and issues that have helped to shape my generation and the next in protest against injustice. When Anna and her staff expressed interest in honoring Dream, I was delighted and honored to say, yes, I know Dream, I stand with Dream Hampton. As board member and on behalf of the New York Women's Foundation, Tarana and I are proud to present you with the Celebrating Women Award for your commitment in holding perpetrators and gender-based violence accountable and shedding light on the systems that enable such pervasive abuse to go unnoticed for too long. Congratulations.
I'm assuming y'all are gonna ship that home to me. Not sure where home is these days. Thank you so much. What a Thank you both. I remember Io with all that big hair at Spelman College. And Tarana, I think, is the reason that I've been on this gala and award circuit. She's been nominating me for all of the basically amazing things that she got last year. And, which has meant like a lot of hair and makeup for me. And today, rolling out of bed, luckily I was just upstairs, but thank you so much. There's a timer here and I'm gonna stick to it. We're wrapping up our day. I know some people have jobs. I'm really proud to not have had one since 1995. I've been living this 21st century gig economy for a long time. As an artist, I just want to quickly say that a lot of times, and even this morning, and I don't blame anyone, we've been using euphemisms or not wanting to name Voldemort in this moment. And I don't want to do that, you know? Yesterday, Trump, the fascist, racist, sexist, who's been accused of rape by 3 different women, his wife, a 13-year-old, and a former business associate, by the way, not only met with the fascist, xenophobic, white supremacist president of Hungary and praised him, but his dream and his vision, what he promised the furthest right wing of his party around getting rid of Roe versus Wade is making more and more steps towards becoming a reality. So anyone in this room who's working on reproductive justice, thank you. Thank you so much. What we're hearing out of Georgia, just to name it, is that we know what they're trying to do around abortion, but even women who seek lawful abortions out of state may not escape punishment. If a Georgia resident plans to travel elsewhere to obtain abortion, she may be charged with conspiracy to commit murder, punishable by 10 years imprisonment. An individual who helps a woman plan her trip to get an out-of-state abortion or transports her to the clinic may also be charged with conspiracy. So I just want us to know that the near future dystopia that we were warned about by first Octavia Butler, who in 1994 wrote about the 2020s, and a president whose slogan was "Make America Great Again" in Parable of the Sower, a book I hope to one day make a film. And also, we're like living in The Handmaid's Tale. So I just want to name these things. Dealing with R. Kelly wasn't an easy lift, you know? And I did feel like I was dealing with him, that he was my generation's problem to deal with, that for too long, almost 3 decades, absolutely for 2 decades, he was an open secret in the music industry. In 2002, a videotape of him brutalizing and raping a 14-year-old went viral. You could buy it in the streets of New York. I remember that before there was virality online. You could buy it at barbershops. So this is a man who got away with what he did for far too long, and mostly because there was an ecosystem of silence and of looking away and of not naming in the only language that I, as a lazy American, know how to speak, in English, not naming exactly what his crimes are. And the women who sat before me in Surviving R. Kelly did just that. They named the abuse, they named the trauma, and basically, you know, they stood up to this man, a 50-year-old R&B singer who I wasn't sure y'all were gonna care about, on a network that I had never watched before. I had never watched Lifetime before I made a film for them, a docuseries for them, so I wasn't sure this was gonna be a hit. But it has changed the conversation, and I'm so grateful for that. I have gone over my time remarkably, but I'm just going to wrap it up by saying, well, first by telling a story that I've been telling everywhere I go. Tarana Burke was in the room. Yes, I'm going to tell that story because we have this idea of like, how do we get to justice, right? And this question is one, after hearing the first, honoree talk about the abuse that she faces in the fire department. And this is the fire department, the people that we consider our heroes. We know how problematic the NYPD are and the police departments across this country. But for you to stand up and give that testimony, I am like still outraged, right? And then we tell survivors of abuse to turn to these very same people to get justice. And so the people that I work with who've been working to end the criminal industrial complex for years, for decades at this point, queer, Black radical women like Ruthie Gilmore, like exactly, if you know Ruthie, yes, like Angela Davis, like Kathy Cohen, working for decades with my best friend Monifa Bandele, who's in the room, and the work that we've been doing over the years. We know that we can't find justice in those spaces. So people have been trying to reimagine justice beyond the criminal justice system. And Tarana was telling me a story about being in the room at the Brett Kavanaugh hearings. And she talked about like how amazing, first of all, how traumatizing it was, but how incredible it would have been if this man would have said, I grew up in the 80s, the early 80s, and we drank a lot. We drank so much that I don't even remember everything that we did. I don't remember everything that I did. What happened to this woman, I'm sure happened, and I'm sure that I had something to do with it. I'm sure I caused that harm. I've spent the last 40 years trying to be a different man, and I apologize and take responsibility for the harm that I caused her. How much healing that would have created for the nation. And when Tarana, and instead he did this Trumpian performance of deflecting, of like piping up the anger. We saw the same thing when R. Kelly sat with Gayle King. Instead of saying, I myself was raped from 7 to 14, which R. Kelly was, those were my formative years. I have no idea what healthy sex and sexuality is. And I think that I have caused harm to countless women for 3 decades at least. And Gayle King, I am going to get the help that I should have gotten decades ago as a 50-year-old man. And I'm so sorry to the women I've harmed, to the Black women and girls that I targeted and harmed. How healing that would have been, instead of this bullshit, trapped in a closet, part 40, like performance that he gave to Gayle King, where he cast himself the victim, as our Trump does, as he exploded in anger and deflected, just creating more harm across the board. So just trying to imagine a radical, space for like reimagining justice. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good day this morning. Thank you.
Can I? Oh, y'all are nice. Dream, you missed your standing ovation. Can I get a numbers check one more time? Y'all thought I forgot, huh? Okay. Can we get that number to at least, let me see, how much time we have? Can we get that number to 7 right now? Come on, y'all. Come on. Ali oxen free. Keep pushing these buttons. Why is it not moving? Somebody press refresh. Yeah? All right. The next people gonna come out. We're gonna check one more time before we leave, but I promise y'all, we're gonna hit that number. Okay, thank you.
Please Please welcome developing artists and our honorees back to the stage.
Let's go. Huh. Y'all having fun at this breakfast?
Yeah, 'cause you know how we be.
'Cause girls just wanna have fun.
The phone rings in the middle of the night. My father yells, what you gonna do with your life? Oh, daddy, did you know you're still number one? And girls, they wanna have fun.
Oh, girls just wanna have, that's all they really want. Some fun when the working day is done. Oh, girls, they wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have.
And some boys took a beautiful girl and hide her away from the rest of the world.
I wanna be the one who walks in the sun.
And girls, they wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have, that's all they really want. Some fun when the working day is done. Oh, girls, they wanna have fun.
Raise you up.
Oh, girls just wanna have fun.
Let me raise you up.
Let
me raise you up.
And I see your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a
This world makes you crazy and you've taken all you can bear. Just call me up because you know I'll be there.
and I see your true colors shining through. I see your true colors. If that's why I love you, so don't be afraid to let them show your true colors. True colors are beautiful, like a rainbow.
Please welcome our honorees back to the stage.
Let's check our numbers. I'm donating right now. Are you? Let's keep it coming throughout. All of the honorees should be joining me on the stage. Please come. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you've been lifted by this experience. I certainly have. My husband still has my stick. Please come join us. Honorees, 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 honorees. And please keep making the number move up. We're doing well. We're making progress. Remember that we have 100% match, dollar for dollar, up to $300,000. If we can get to $300,000, it gets doubled. You can add that, and we will be over our goal of $2 million. We're going to do it, ladies. Thank you so much. And men.
Thank you for celebrating with us. See you next May.